Hello everyone, welcome back to West Ham Fan TV's Monday Musings with me, Nicky Hawkins, in just the second edition of this show on our channel. I've got to say a big thank you to everyone that made last week such a big success. I was very happy with the reception. Thanks for getting involved with the tweets, but this is going to be a regular thing from now on, so keep getting involved and keep on tweeting. Once again, this show pits you 3 questions on a Monday that I tweet out, stuff that's happened during the last week, not necessarily to do with the stuff on the pitch, but mostly to do with the stuff off the pitch. I'll tweet you the subjects, I'll talk about them for a little bit, and I'll get straight into your tweets and answer or agree or disagree with the tweets that you send. The planned protest and fan unrest against Arsenal not taking your seat over, until after kickoff, was it a good idea? I'm not a massive fan of protests per se, but in this case, it's not against ticket prices, it's not against anything like that. It's against the banning of fans, and I do feel that some of the fans, not all of them, some of them do deserve bans. Trust me, I'm not sticking up for the people that are punching each other's lights out or anything like that. But some of the fans that have been banned, I feel have been unfairly banned, and this protest is against that. What it is, it's you take your seat a few minutes after kickoff to let the owners and to show the owners what an empty stadium would look like, which many people are starting to think that's where they're heading, because they seem to be banning the real fans, the proper fans, the fans that have been with the club throughout the years, by banning them for stupid things. I'm not saying about the fighting. Once again, people that are fighting fully deserve, but things like standing up, and we've seen the videos all over Twitter with stuff like, you know, refusing to let fans leave and threatening them with civil arrest and things like that, which is poor from the stadium owners. And by doing this protest, it will show the fan, and it will show that we're, you know, as any protest, it shows that we're in a state of unrest, and we are. I feel like the club are taking its fans for granted. The you know, the die-hard fans, the ones that have been there throughout the years with the club, and you know, it's just a way of showing that it can't continue, and it shows our unrest. So yeah, I think the planned protest is a good idea. A few of you on Twitter disagree. I'll read out a few that I've got here. At WHUFC, Cammy said, this would just cause more unnecessary chaos, and why complain about 50 quid tickets, then miss bubbles at the start of the game. Now, I don't believe this is a protest against ticket prices. I do understand, and once again, it's something that we've been misinformed about. I'm not going to say lied about, but misinformed about their affordable football. The cheapest ticket for Arsenal will be £50 when they promised affordable football. Now, if you're taking a family of 4, it makes it, you know, the cheapest you can go to the stadium is £200, which it's not great, is it? You know what I mean? It's not great, and you know, there's a lot of issues with the stadium. There's a lot of issues with the fans. There's a lot of disillusioned people out there. So, you know, I understand if you don't want to take part, but you know, also I do think that you should think about it. At Rick Fanchin says, Fachin, sorry mate if I've ruined your name there. Don't see why not. Don't know if it will change anything at the top. They have their agenda and a profitable waiting list too. Now the waiting list is something that's a little bit. It's a little bit questionable whether there is 55,000 on a waiting list. Is there? If there is, and if there was, fair play. You know, 55,000 waiting list is impressive for a Premier League club with a 57,000 capacity. But the real fans, the fans that attended the games before, probably already have tickets. A lot of them already do. If they don't, they're probably fans. You know, and I'm not saying you're not true fans, but true fans that live a little bit further afield, maybe live abroad, can't get to every game. So yeah, it's, I mean, the 55,000 waiting list, if you're on a waiting list, I'm assuming that you can make it to the football. It's probably full of people that are not really interested in West Ham. The fad of the stadium. I think the 55,000 waiting list is very questionable. I must say that. That's a personal opinion. That's not a fact. I haven't got any facts to back that up. But it's very questionable because I know of at least one West Ham employee, and current, I won't name any names, that bought a season ticket and was offered one for nothing. So she got two for the price of one. Now, does that sound like a club that's got 55,000 people waiting for tickets? Not really. Not really. And if you keep on banning fans that attend regularly, you know, you're going to be left with the people that, you know, do see this as a fad and do see this as a day out and do see this as you know, a once every year trip. And we're not a club like Man United or Arsenal where, you know, we've got a worldwide fan base. We're still working on that. We've still got a lot of work to do on that sort of thing before you can start doing that. So my message to West Ham would be, please think about what you're doing with the real fans and don't bite your nose to spite your face. Second subject on the agenda was number 2, tweeted out, Reese Oxford, new long-term deal. Great news, or is he overhyped? Now, Reese Oxford is one of the most exciting prospects to come out of our academy in recent years. There's a lot of hype over the kid. There's a lot of expectation on the kid. Obviously, he's played a few Premier League games already. One of them, he was very good against Arsenal. Played in central midfield at 16. I think he became the youngest ever West Ham player to play in the Premier League at that time. And he looked very accomplished. Now, he's very raw. He's got a lot of potential, but he's got a lot to live up to too. It looked like he may be on his way. He hasn't been getting games when perhaps he should have been getting games. He hasn't been loaned out. I'm not sure why. I've got a theory on that, but I won't bore you with that right now. But there's rumours that the kid's a little bit difficult. I've seen Reese Oxford. I met him at the West Ham, the FIFA 17 preview event at West Ham. So that could be a problem. It's a problem with the English game in this generation that a lot of them want the world before before they've kicked a ball and before they've made anything. Like we took Ravel Morrison, of course. There was a big hoo-ha about him at Man United, wanting £30,000 a week before he played in the first team, and that's why Ferguson got rid of him. Now it seems to be a trend amongst English kids. He didn't look like he was going to sign a contract, Reese Oxford. It looked like he might have been moving on. Some big clubs interested in him, and I was a bit wary and worried for his career, because you can see the sort of careers that promising youngsters have taken once they've gone to Man City or Man United or something. You know, you've only got to look at the likes of Scott Sinclair, Jack Rodwell, people like that who had the world at their feet when they moved to Man City, never got games and ended up having to move on and not struggling in a game, but with struggling sides, and their career hadn't progressed as well as if they'd have stayed at their native club. But Reese Oxford signed up. Maybe that's why Slaven wasn't playing him, because he was worried about him not signing a new contract, and you're basically sort of using him, giving him games for other teams to benefit from that experience, because he began to them for a very nominal fee if he doesn't sign a contract. So I can see the reasoning behind that. Hopefully now that he's signed up, Slaven will be a bit more easy about giving him games, because he's signed a 5-year contract, and if he did want to leave and move, we could demand then a huge transfer fee for him. So it would benefit us as well, giving him games. So it's great news for me. As I said, he's a very promising youngster. But let's see what you said on Twitter. At Rick Thatchin, says he's still a kid. One of ours. Let's rephrase the question. Would hate to see that question. Would hate him to see that question being asked. Now I'm just asking the question. I know what you mean there, Rick. You know, you got to keep it in perspective sometimes, and you've got to ask a question. I'll give my answer. No, I don't think he's overhyped. I think he's going to be a very good player. At Dave Clements, Clem132. Yes, but Man City, Arsenal, Man United will offer him 50k if he left. Fans will be blaming Bilic and the board. Should be a sweeper in our back three with Reed on the right, Bonner on the left, and then Kyoto. Although Kyoto hasn't been great in midfield this season, I would like to see him take, especially as we're playing three centre backs now. I would like to see him take one of them centre back roles, and it gives him a little bit more scope for mistake while we're playing that sort of system. Because even if he makes a mistake, there's always two centre backs covering, and plus he'd be playing alongside two very experienced centre halves in Winston Reid and Ogbonna, or maybe James Collins, whoever seems to be. But whoever he's playing with, he's gonna gain a lot of experience. And yeah, I'd like to see him and Reece Burke maybe come back and be phased into the team over the next year or so. That would be fabulous. At Geo Mackie, at Red Hammer 8, the guy over at Hammer's Chat, go and check out their stuff. He says, best signing of 2016 apart from Lanzini. Sometimes keeping our current bunch is as important as recruiting. That is true. That is very true. I couldn't have put that any better myself. It seems to be we're taking a step in the right direction in keeping our players. We have been for a little while now. We haven't let any players go for a little while now. I'll take one more on this subject if I can find one. Andy88 WHU says, great to keep him, but pointless if we don't give him game time after this season. I thought he was looking for the exit. Yeah, I totally agree there, Andy. And hopefully we can keep him for many years to come. So the third subject on this week's Monday Musings is Diafra Sakho set to return to save our season, or will he just be biding his time until January? Diafra Sakho, my personal opinion, and I've said this on a few of our videos in the past, I feel he's been a little bit mistreated. Now, it doesn't give him an excuse to go and do what he does, and it seems, fuck about and not play football. It doesn't give him that excuse. But if you look at the facts, I know he's been injured a lot. He's probably been injured as much as Carroll over the last few years, which goes a little bit under the radar because all the focus is on Carroll. But if you look at him when he is fit, he is our best striker. He's our best goal-scoring threat, without a shadow of a doubt. I was comparing his stats against Andy's. Andy scored 23 goals for West Ham. Diafra scored 19, and he's been here for 2 years less. So he's our main goal-scoring threat, and when he is playing well, he offers so much more than any striker we've got in there. I mean, you look at the current crop that we've been brought in: Zaza, Kaleri, Ashley Fletcher. Although Ashley Fletcher will be one for the future, but they're not really offering what Diafra can offer. And to last season, when we didn't have them strikers as well, when we had Emenike and Valencia and Carroll, he was our number one striker. Let's be fair, he was our number one striker. And when he was in the team and not injured, he was doing really well. The problem is, as soon as Andy Carroll comes back, he's brushed out of the team as quickly as he brushed in, and I think that was one of the excuses or one of the reasons that he left the Arsenal game, because he was playing so well, and Andy Carroll come back and he's straight back in the starting 11. Now, you can't keep on doing that to goal scorers, and especially this summer, I think this is where it's going to be AWOL for him, is this summer. He already knows he's behind Carroll when he's fit. Maybe he can accept that. But then the club start making noises about the big name striker that we all wanted, and we all wanted to get this big name striker in. So in his mind, he's thinking, well, I'm already behind him, and they're going to bring someone else in that's going to be in front of him, so I'm going to be third down the pecking order. I'm never going to get a game. I'm going to be sitting on the bench. He's in the prime of his career. What's the point in playing? What's the point in putting in all this effort for this club if they're constantly looking to replace me or to knock me out of the team? So I understand a little bit of what he's doing. He wants to play football, and ironically, his protest is not playing football, which is crazy. But he comes back this week. He's been back in training. It looks like someone's put an arm around him and said, look, Diafra, you know, whether you want to move or not, you know, pull your socks up. Let's get going. They've said he had an injury, but I'm sure he hasn't had an injury. I'm pretty sure of that. Pull your socks up. Let's get going. Let's make this, you know, your last few months or whatever at West Ham a season to remember. And he can be our saviour. And maybe he's playing for his future of his career. And maybe if he does well this time, they might look at him and say, well, he's the forward we want all the time. But that's to be seen, you know what I mean? So let's have a look what some of you said on the comments. There was a lot of comments about this, so I'm going to miss some. At Rick Thatcher again said, we need someone to save it ASAP, and if it's him, so be it. We'll be really ruined if he leaves in January and we can't get a replacement. And that's true. And that's another thing that we have to look for. If we don't get a replacement, because the flops that we've got in so far have been so bad, we need strikers scoring goals. That's the point, isn't it? If he does play well and we still look to replace him, and he goes and we don't replace him, we'll be in trouble. You know, we've seen what playing games without strikers can do already. We've scored well, but we could be scoring more. Chances are being created and they're not being put away by the forwards. So, yeah, it's a difficult one with him. I'd put my arm around him and make him the number one. Let's have a look, see who else is. At Steve Hill, we need him, mate. Simple as that. And I'll totally agree with that. We do need him. Harry Latham, WHU, he will save us if the fans get behind him and give him 3 or 4 games to settle in and not get on his back. He will score. Totally agree. I'm sure he will if he starts scoring goals. I'm sure people won't get on his back. You know, people do seem to like Diafra over there, and I think they like him because he is, you know, he's a goal scorer. He's a potential match winner. At Jay Warwood said, I agree, pal. Hated him for his behaviour now. Always forgiven if he scores and does the hammer sign. Hashtag our best striker. Yeah. At Vaz18 Flick 77, I don't think he's looking for a move. Just wants assurances that if he's scoring and form's good, he won't get dropped. And that's what I was saying. That's a big problem with Diafra. I think they've treated him like that as well. And I think it's a valid point that if he's playing well and he's scoring the goals, you know, he's not going to get dropped out of the team. And as I said, you know, at WHU Exeter says, we're so fucking desperate, who cares either way, he's a goal scorer, the others ain't. End of story. Or end of, sorry. Yeah, totally agree. He is a goal scorer. I don't know why he's been treated so badly. But Dave Goodyhammer1 says, personally, I'd leave him to consider his actions, not play him, but we will not get a penny for him if we can't prove himself worthy of the deal. So it's a little bit, maybe they are going to ask him, you know, to try your best and you can get your move away. But we all know what a good player the Sakho can be. So if he starts playing well, he's not going to be he's not going to be happy. People ain't going to be happy if they sell him in January. So especially if we ain't got a replacement. So that's a double-edged sword there. I'm going to take one more on this subject, and that's Jake Lodeman. I personally think whoever point to prove, not everything's black and white, could be like a new signing. And yeah, these injured players will be like new signings, and they will be. They're obviously settled members of the squad as well, so they know what, you know, Slav's all about. They know what West Ham's all about. So, and it'd be good to see him in the new stadium as well. I think he's earned the right at least to play a couple of games in front of the fans at the new stadium. And yeah, so that's it. Thanks very much for joining us on this edition of Monday Musings. Don't forget, come back every Tuesday where I'll be putting a video out. I asked you on a Monday, I put the video out on a Tuesday, where I'll be going all over the subjects that I pick. Don't forget to go and join Graham on the social this week. That's a show where you get to put the questions to us, and whoever Graham's guest is. We'll be going up to the FBAs this week, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm not too confident, but fingers crossed, we may come back as an award-winning channel. And if we do, that will all be down to you, because the votes, that you put in for our channel have all counted, and we've been nominated in the top 10 best video category for this year. So thank you very much. If we come back as an award-winning channel, you know, we'll all be over the moon, and you know, words won't be able to describe it, to be quite honest with you. Don't forget to go and join us. This week is a big week. Obviously, we've got Spurs away at White Hart Lane for the last time before they move into their new ground, or Wembley next year, and then move into their new ground. So that'd be a massive game. Don't forget to join us for post-match pint. All the build up to that with Scott's preview, all the fan cams afterwards, as many as we can film. It's a difficult place to film, White Hart Lane. You know, we'll see what we can do. We've done them last year, so we'll see what we can do. And all the other content, Dan's preview, and everything else up during the week. As I said, thanks very much for joining us for this edition of Monday Musings, and thank you very much for making last week's one such a success. So they'll carry on from now on. One thing left to say, boys, come on you Irons.